Hey guys, welcome to Storytime with Jester. As you can see, it's dressed a little bit differently today, for this is now December, and all month I am going to be the Georgia Santa Claus. Tonight's reading, we're going to be continuing the saga of Andor and his companions in the Book of Prophecies, my fantasy fiction novel. Picking up where we left off last time. Andor's Journal. Free Day 40, 1230. The ferryman was a lich. He put a curse on Marikai, where he is unable to leave the ferry. He is also compelled to take up the pole and become the ferryman himself. My powers have no effect on the curse. We will camp here while I pray to St. Columba to rid Marikai of this curse. Free Day 41, 1230. It's been a week, and still the curse has not been lifted. Clouds have started to darken the skies once again. We cannot delay our quest any longer. We must leave Marikai to his fate and pray for his well-being. Moon Day 42, 1230. Praise be to St. Columba. Marikai returns to us. Somehow the curse was lifted, but he will not say how. No matter, he is alive and well. God's Day 42, 1230. The rain continues. We will get on Jovan's magical boat and travel north by way of the Dnieper. We will get back on land at the ford just north of Pinnacle Peak. Moon Day 43, 1230. As we neared Pinnacle Peak, we noticed a huge camp around the bottom of the hill, several hundred by the looks of it. Fearing the worst, we landed the craft and had Miranda conceal us with her illusions. We will attempt to go around the encampment unnoticed. Water Day 43, 1230. We reached a ford north of the peak. So far we've gone unnoticed. We're going to set to the river again. Star Day 44, 1230. We've reached the northern hills. It's started raining again. The temperatures at night are near freezing. We decide to activate our rings, concealing our true identities. All except Miranda, who stubbornly insists on appearing as she always does. Star Day 45, 1230. The rain has turned to sleet. The days are barely above freezing, while the nights are well below that. We've encountered a few orcs and undead, but nothing major. The elements are our worst foe at the moment. We still have yet to locate the cavern that we seek. Star Day 46, 1230. The sleet has gotten worse. Visibility is at a low. Marikai used his cube to protect us from the elements last night. I believe we will stay in his mini fortress until the weather clears. Star Day 47, 1230. Finally, the sleet has stopped and the skies are clear. Star Day 48, 1230. Again, the cursed sleet. We still haven't found the cavern. Sunday 49, 1230. Snow has started to fall. We haven't seen any signs of life for a while now. Star Day 50, 1230. A heavy blizzard has blown in. The wind chill is unbearable. Marikai erected his battlement again. I believe we'll be here for a while. Thanks to St. Columba, I'll be able to keep us supplied with food and water during our stay. Free Day 2, 1231. The snows have finally stopped falling. Jovan is going to go out and forage, as well as scout the area. Free Day 4, 1231. It has started snowing again. Still no signs of life or the cavern. Jovan has been going out every day. Each day we venture to where he scouted, then camp for the night, holed up in Marikai's cube. With this new snow, we'll be stationary again for some time. Sunday 7, 1231. The snow has stopped falling. We again set out to search for the cavern. Earth Day 8, 1231. We saw a huge dragon flying overhead today. I couldn't make out the type. It either didn't notice us or didn't care to. Sunday 10, 1231. Xavier teleported to our location. He said that he has located what he believes to be the cavern we seek. Earth Day 10, 1231. We've found a cavern, the entrance of which is heavily guarded. There are many camps around the place. At night, fires can be seen for miles. Above the entrance is a group of hill giants. Scores of small tents dot the ground around the entrance itself. Over 100 orcs stay in these tents, along with several ogres. They patrol the area outside the cavern, never venturing too far away. Priests of Ikra can also be seen emerging from the cavern entrance from time to time. We've been scouting the place now for 3 days, cloaked by invisibility spells from Miranda and Xavier. Jovan has chanced being detected by scouting closer to the entrance, even though personally cloaked by one of the spells. Even my writing this entry is at a risk, as I have to leave the spell's protection radius in order to do so. We have decided on a plan. Miranda will use her powerful illusions to cloak us even further, and then she will cause a diversion while we slip past the guardians and into the cavern. I pray that she is successful and safe. St. Columba, go with her. Chapter 48. The lanky wizard stalked back and forth in his sparse, cold chambers, lamenting over his assignment here in these wretched caverns. He dare not speak his complaints out loud, for his master might hear him. No, he could not have that. He displeased his master once. Rather than condemn him to the fields of suffering in the capital, Ikra favored him by sending him to this pit of despair, without any form of pleasure whatsoever. Oh, how he missed his concubines! Ikra had taken them from him as part of his punishment, and replaced them with the disgusting monsters he was to watch over. With that thought, he reached a hand to his face and slowly ran his fingers over the large scar that marred his cheek. Cursed trolls! How he hated them, feared them, if truth be told. But he was not prone to telling truths, not even to himself. Ikra knew exactly how to torture someone, be it physically or mentally. He wasn't given a position as overseer, but rather sent to a dungeon to be tortured, mind and soul. His chambers weren't that at all, but rather a prison cell. The trolls were not his charges, but rather his torturers, if truth be told. But he didn't tell truths. What was this place he was supposedly helping to guard anyway? Nothing special from what he could tell. Just a cavern in a hill surrounded by ice-cold marshes, the kind of cold that went straight to the bone, like death. A death shroud. That's what he was in, a tomb. One big, gigantic... Suddenly, the ramblings were cut off by the sounds of fighting outside his chambers. Intruders? Here? How? His mind quickly pondered the ramifications of such an event. For anyone to reach down here, they would have to have gotten past the vast hordes of orcs outside the cavern, past the mages and priests, past his trolls. Did he just say his trolls? He must be losing his mind. Crack! There was the sound of the torturer's whip down the hall. They were close. His quartet of zombie guards would slow them a little. Must escape. His need for self-preservation took over the fear that had momentarily gripped him, and he sprang into action. He reached for the catch that opened the secret door at the back of the room and gave it a tug. He pushed open the door just a little, and then turned to face the full-length mirror that was nearby. He cast a spell on the mirror that rendered it invisible, and then stepped through it as if it were a doorway. On the other side was another chamber which he walked into as if appearing out of nowhere. He quickly ran over to an open chest and began gathering items from it. He donned a robe, grabbed a small glass flask and a tiny square packet, which he placed inside the robe. He then took out an empty hourglass, removed one of the bases, and quickly put sand inside. Placing the base back on, he sat the hourglass on a nearby table to where the sand would begin draining to the bottom. He then grabbed another packet, different from the first, and going to the location where he appeared in the room, flung it through the portal. He then made haste to the southern portion of this tiny cavern and, finding the catch, opened another secret door. He started to step through, but paused, quickly turned back, and ran to the open chest. He reached in and retrieved a kettle and made a mad dash for the secret door where he exited the room. He then walked briskly and with purpose down the passage where he came to a pair of bridges that spanned a huge hole in the cavern floor. Sweat began pouring down his forehead as he stopped at the edge of the cavern and looked around. His mind began to race. Where are the trolls? The bridge is still intact. Must get across. Why aren't the trolls here? He began moving again with rapid caution towards the hole. The two bridges joined together, forming a T. He stepped out onto the bridge and began to cross. Suddenly he noticed movement from the inside of the hole, as if something clinging to the walls of the chasm were in motion. The trolls! What were they doing in the chasm? Had the intruders thrown them to their seeming deaths and they were now just returning? No. Maybe. No matter. They were after him now. Why? He was not an intruder. No, not an intruder. A traitor. He was fleeing, running from his assignment. They were closer now, almost upon him. He must reach the door at the end of the second bridge. Hurry now, before they reach the bridge, before they reach him with their sharp talons. He unconsciously touched his scar again. Almost there, he thought, as he eyed the door. Almost here, he thought, as he feared the taloned menace behind him. As he neared the door, he paused, looking back over his shoulder. Nothing. The trolls were gone. His heart pounding, sweat drenching his clothes, a wry smile formed on his lips, and he gave a sigh of relief. As he turned back toward the door, the sigh quickly morphed into a gasp as he stood face to chest with one of his hideous pursuers. Terror welled up in him as all his fears, both past and present, assaulted him at once, causing a sharp pain in his chest. No, it wasn't the fear causing this pain. He looked down at his chest. The troll had thrust one of its talons in his chest. Blood started to slowly trickle out of the wound and down his body. As he looked from his chest to the troll in horror, the body of the troll began to morph. The hideous form of the monster that had plagued his thoughts, his dreams, and his fears all these years suddenly changed to that of a beautiful blonde girl with piercing violet eyes. Eyes that welled with tears and streamed down her face. Eyes that stared straight into his own and pierced his very soul like the dagger that had pierced his heart and was being held by the girl who now stood before him. As his life force quickly escaped his body, the realization of what had happened overcame him, and he uttered but one single word, the last word he would ever speak. Miranda. Anders' Journal. Free Day 10/12/31. The cavern system here is extensive. We have crossed 3 deep chasms. Being cloaked, we were able to sneak past a lot of inhabitants. This place is crawling with orcs, as well as many wizards and priests. We battled several trolls while trying to cross one of the chasms, and just finished fighting off one of the wizards, or actually the traps he left for us as he made his escape. I fear our safety is now at risk. We did rescue 2 nomads, Thorfinn's people by the looks of them, a husband and wife. They have joined us for the time being. St. Columba, help us. We are being attacked and pursued by all manner of golem. We have fled to a cavern so that I may try and heal our wounds, which are many. We have lost our barbarian comrades. They fought bravely and died an honorable death, as Thorfinn would say if he were here. Ah, Thorfinn, I do miss his strength. We are in sore need of it now. Miranda just located us. Praise be to St. Columba, she is all right. She informed me that the priests are praying, probably for Ikra to appear. Thankfully, we have no pursuers, probably due to the fact that they doubt our ability to survive this level. I have done all I can for now in healing us of our wounds. We will continue in an hour or so. We have another chasm to cross. Crossing the one chasm has brought us here, to the biggest one yet. However, where all to this point had been rope bridges to traverse, this one is made of stone and is 40 feet wide. Also, blocking our path is a sphere with the colors of the rainbow. Xavier says it is a very powerful barrier created by a spell and defeated by the same. Once across the bridge, a huge set of bronze doors bars the way. But first we must destroy this colorful sphere. Xavier says trying to run through it would only result in all our deaths. As usual throughout these caverns, flight is not possible. Some powerful force prohibits such travel. I invoke the power of the magical chain shirt I would now wear. I feel its power flow through me. I feel as though I'm invincible. When I prayed for spells, I was granted those of a power I have yet to achieve. This shirt must be from the gods themselves. Xavier, Miranda, and I, using the power of our spells, combine to bring down the sphere. It will now take the combined strength of our fighters to pull open these huge bronze doors. Chapter 49. The bronze doors were massive. They were 10 feet wide each and twice as high, with pull rings at a height that only giants could utilize. Was it a long-lost race of giants that carved the runes that adorned the twin portals, or perhaps dwarven miners that delved too deep and built these to keep some evil out? The doors radiated magic, but from what Andor and Xavier could tell, the runes themselves were not. They warned of danger, of evil, gave commands, or was it pleas, to stop, turn back. Using the power of his staff, Xavier levitated to the pull rings, two 50-foot lengths of rope in tow. Once there, he fed the ropes through the rings, letting both ends fall to the ground where they were taken up by the fighters. Pulling with all the strength they had, amplified by whatever magic they each bore, the bronze doors slowly began to swing open. On the other side, the passage, which seemed like an underground highway, continued on and was lit on either side by what appeared to be magical torches. The light illuminated a distance of about 40 feet before trailing off into darkness. The group, led by Eric and Marikai, slowly and cautiously made their way past the portals. Up ahead, through the shadows, they could see what looked to be a large boulder. It possibly blocked another portal, for a metallic sheen eked its radiance forth. No, it wasn't a boulder. Perhaps a stalagmite formation, for large pointed objects could be made out jutting up from a rise in the cavern floor. A cavern floor that seemed to shift. No, move. Rise, as if awakened from a slumber. Towering some 50 feet in the air and beginning to move like some enormous creature. Was this an earth elemental? The group had fought those years ago in the temple near Henwick. No, this was no elemental. It was something out of a nightmare. Its hulking frame was demonic in appearance, having a bullish head with razor-sharp teeth and two piercing horns, long fingers ending in talons, and a long, sweeping tail akin to that of a lizard. Before anyone could finish taking in the hellish form, the beast was upon them, traversing the 80 feet that separated them with blinding speed. It lowered its head as it neared them, goring Eric and Marikai with its horns, and trampling Jovan and Hawkeye under its huge taloned feet. The sheer force of its charge propelled Eric and Marikai into Xavier and Miranda, knocking them down. The beast then attacked with the ferocity of an animal, biting at Andor, slashing at Jovan and Hawkeye with its sharp claws, and goring Eric and Marikai again with its horns. As it thrashed around, it swept Miranda and Xavier with its tail, knocking them against an invisible barrier that had sprung up, blocking the entrance. To make matters worse, a barrier of whirring blades covered the first half of the passage, appeared, giving them only a small area in which to defend themselves from this killing machine. Andor's armor protected him from any damage that the beast's razor-sharp teeth would have done, but the others were not so fortunate. The nimble Hawkeye retreated as far as he could while getting off 3 shots. His arrows struck the back of the creature but ricocheted harmlessly off. Miranda ran over to where Hawkeye was and cast an invisibility spell on herself. Xavier went to the far reaches of the other side and also cast a spell on himself. The others dug in and faced the beast toe to toe. Eric attacked with his holy sword, Marikai his longsword, and Jovan wielded both longsword and handaxe. Andor took staff in hand and yelled, "St. Columba, let your power flow through my body so that I may send this beast to the abyss." Suddenly, Andor's body began to glow with a bright white radiance tinged with green. He waded out into the battle, swinging his staff vigorously as the others succeeded in striking blows against the beast. Xavier pointed his staff at the beast, and a thin blue ray issued forth, striking the beast but rebounding back towards Xavier, barely missing him. Miranda, filled with hubris at the defeat of the Dragon of Shadow, launched the same spell at this beast. The thin green ray struck the beast, reflected off its carapace, and struck the cavern wall, creating a huge hole. Jovan struck where he thought the creature would be, but missed as it suddenly moved. Marakai slashed it with his sword, but was knocked off his feet when the beast's tail slammed into him. His head hit the ground hard, causing him to lose grip on his sword. He lay there stunned, slipping into unconsciousness as the battle raged above him. Eric slashed the belly of the beast as a claw raked into Jovan, the other narrowly missing Eric's head. Andor connected with his staff, a bright white explosion of color lighting up the point of impact on the beast's right leg. The beast lowered its head and attacked Eric and Andor with its horns. A wound opened up on Eric, while Andor's armor once again protected him from harm. Jovan ducked as the tail whipped by him. He then slashed at the beast's hindquarter, his blade sinking deep into the hard carapace. Eric followed with another swing of his own blade, this time on the left hindquarter. The beast, from Eric and Jovan's attacks, let out a loud scream of pain. Fueled by its rage, the beast snapped its mighty jaws at the helpless Marakai that lay before it. Its razor-sharp teeth bit into Marakai's limp form, causing blood to pour out of the many holes that were now in his body. Hawkeye, seeing that his bow was useless against this creature, uncorked a potion bottle, consumed its contents, drew his sword, and charged the beast. Miranda got an idea. She took the orb and used it to create a wall of force in front of the whirling blades to protect the group from being flung into them. She got the feeling that the idea did not come from her own mind, but from something else she could not quite put a finger on. An ashen-colored globe formed in the hand of Xavier, and he hurled it at the beast's head. It missed miserably, dissipating as it struck the cavern wall. Eric caused a gaping wound in the hind quarter of the beast as he slashed again with his holy sword. The beast swung around, a horn missing Hawkeye, another slashing at Andor's armor, its tail flying over the ducking Jovan until it was facing the cause of its pain. Eric and Jovan slashed its chest as it squared around. The beast clawed at the two warriors before him. It opened up Eric's plate armor with one huge rake of its talons, knocking the shield out of his hand in the process. With the other claw it raked Jovan, then opened its huge maw and bit into Eric's exposed and defenseless flesh, the razor-sharp teeth biting down to the bone and severing Eric's shield arm. Hawkeye, whose metabolism was sped up from the contents of the potion he quaffed, attacked the beast from behind in a flurry of strokes from his short sword, connecting 3 times. The beast once again spun around, its tail hitting Jovan and knocking him to the ground, but not before he slashed the beast once more with his sword. The beast raked at Hawkeye with taloned claws, opening deep wounds in his chest and propelling him backwards into the ground where he lay motionless. As the beast turned toward Andor, Xavier slammed his staff on the ground, causing a wave of force to usher forth, striking the beast in the chest. Rather than knocking it back and away from Andor as Xavier had hoped, it only caused the beast to pause but a heartbeat. Miranda followed with a spell from the orb, causing a cloud of green gas to issue forth from it and surround the upper body of the beast. It began coughing, slowing its movements and staggering around until it fell to the ground with a thunderous boom. Andor's Journal. Free Day 10, 12/31, continued. Only in legend have I dreamed of such a beast. My comrades lay bloody and mangled. I have bandaged them and administered as much aid as I can to them, but I am weak. My healing powers are waning. I need to rest, sleep. I pray that St. Columba keep them alive until I regain my powers. Star Day 11, 12/31. Praise be to St. Columba. They have survived the night. I am now able to heal them with his power. My body is still strong enough to again be a vessel for his healing power. Once everyone is healed, we will see what lies on the other side of the portal the beast was guarding. I was also able to restore Eric's severed arm. The huge bronze door took the strength of us all to open. Inside was a circular chamber containing 6 chrysalis structures, 20 feet tall and surrounded each by a prismatic sphere. Within each of these structures is what looks like the shriveled remnants of some creature. The structures are set about the chamber in a sort of star pattern with one in the center. After a lengthy discussion, we concluded that we must first bring down each of the spheres, which will take a couple of days, and then try to and destroy the 6 structures. Our fear in all of this is that Ikra will realize what we are doing and come to stop us. May St. Columba give us the strength and power to achieve our goal. God's Day 11, 1231. We've managed to successfully bring down all 6 spheres. So far, there is no sign of Ikra or any of his followers. We can now see better the beings inside the chrysalises. One looks like a lich, but its clothing looks to be the trappings of that of good, not evil. The second is celestial in appearance, muscular and with wings. It's very similar to the being in my dream that spoke to me. The third appears to be human, possibly a priest of the Lord of Light. The fourth looks like a genie, one that is called Ifriti. The fifth also looks celestial, not as large or muscular as the first, and the sixth, the one in the center, contains a creature as evil-looking as I have ever seen. Ebony in color, massive in bulk and muscles, and with horns. Once we manage to break the 6 structures, we must deal with the creatures inside. Hopefully we won't have to battle any of them. Everyone is ready. St. Columba, be with us. Earth Day 11, 1231. Praise be to St. Columba. May he live forever. He is my protector and provider. I will follow him always. We are now back in sanctuary. By the power of St. Columba, I am able to recount what transpired in the cavern after my last entry in this journal. Eric, using the Holy Avenger sword he acquired in the Towers of the Lich, struck the first structure, shattering it in 1,000,000 pieces. I started casting a spell at the remains of the creature previously contained therein. Almost immediately, Ikra appeared before us. As my lips finished the last word of the spell, the remains of the Archlich reformed, hovering in the air for a brief moment, and then disappeared. As it did, a bright ray of light burst from where it was, blasting through Ikra, staggering him. As Eric continued to break structures, Ikra summoned several demons, one of his high priestesses, and his grand wizard. The rest of our group charged the demons, while Eric continued smashing structures. Using my talisman, I caused a flaming crack to open underneath the feet of the high priestess, sending her screaming to her death. I then returned my attention to the remains of the released creatures. Using the cup and talisman, I resurrected the remains of the priest of the Lord of Light. He formed in the air, and with a wave of his hand, healed my entire party, and then disappeared in a flash of light. This light burst into a ray that also blasted through Ikra. Furious, Ikra went straight for Eric. By the time Ikra had reached him, Eric had managed to destroy all but one of the structures. Even though Ikra was weakened considerably by the destruction of the husks, he was gaining the upper hand in the battle. Eric was on the verge of death, being strangled by Ikra's bony fingers, when a hammer came crashing into Ikra, knocking him back and freeing Eric. The hammer came from Thorfinn, who had been with his people when they had attacked the orcs in the western hills to recover the remains of their ancestors from the hidden burial caverns there. He was part of the force that led the pursuing orcs away from the main group as they made their way back to the steppes. He came upon these caverns and was attacked by the force there. He and a small group battled their way to where we were. Marikai and Jovan fell, their mangled bodies lying limp on the cavern floor. They bought me the time I needed to finish the other 3 creatures, all of which caused damage to Ikra. My party killed all 4 demons, leaving only the Grand Wizard and Ikra remaining. Just then a white-haired wizard, which I later learned was none other than Aslanor, appeared and immediately launched a spell, forcing the 2 to flee. We grabbed Marikai and Jovan and, using the big beads I created, teleported here to Sanctuary, leaving only 1 structure in the cavern unharmed. With the power of St. Columba, I was able to restore life to Marikai and Jovan. What became of Aslanor and the final structure, I do not know. And that is where we will end tonight's reading. Thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed my story tonight. As always, make sure you hit the like, subscribe, and notification bell, and leave comments in the comments section because I do love those and will respond as quickly as possible. Make sure you share with all your friends, and if you like this channel and want to support it, there are links in my About section in this channel to how to purchase my book that I'm reading here in either hardback, paperback, or ebook formats. And until next time, and as always, see you soon.